Descriptive carrying failure describes what happens when a descriptive framework remains present but can no longer carry what is being forced through it. It does not fail because it disappears, it fails because the load changes. New phenomena enter faster than they can be absorbed. Differences multiply. Contradictions accumulate. External pressures increase. Change accelerates. The framework is still there, it is still used, it may still sound normal, but what it carries no longer fits what moves through it. That is the beginning of descriptive carrying failure. A descriptive framework fails when the interpretive load placed upon it exceeds its carrying capacity. At that point, the framework does not always collapse immediately. It often compensates. It may reinforce itself. It may borrow from outside. It may patch over strain. It may continue through ritual and repetition. It may fragment into smaller, partial systems. It may eventually be replaced. So the issue is not whether the framework still exists. The issue is whether it can still bear reality in workable form. The load in this model is composite. It may include more new phenomena, more contradiction, faster change, more external translation pressure, more distinctions that must be maintained at once. This means the problem is not quantity alone. It is the combined burden of complexity, difference, speed, and pressure. Carrying capacity, in turn, is the framework's ability to keep functioning under that load. It must still be able to absorb new material, preserve distinctions, maintain coherence, and generate usable interpretation without immediate rupture. That capacity is not fixed. It may grow, it may be reinforced, it may be artificially prolonged, or it may erode while outward continuity remains. That is why this model is not a binary between success and collapse. It is a model of strain, compensation, and delayed failure. When carrying capacity becomes insufficient, several pathways can appear. Reinforcement means the framework genuinely expands. It develops new distinctions, interfaces, or structures that increase what it can carry. Borrowing means it draws in external descriptive resources. This may strengthen the framework, extend its life, or simply delay failure. Patching means local repairs accumulate. The framework remains usable, but with increasing strain. Ritualization means the framework survives more through repetition, legitimacy, or habit than through actual descriptive fit. Fragmentation means no single framework remains sufficient. Different parts of reality are carried by different systems. Replacement means another framework becomes the primary carrier. These pathways are not strictly separate. They may overlap, alternate, or appear in sequence. One of the most important distinctions in this model is the difference between reinforcement and forced stability. Not every adaptive change is evidence of health. A framework may absorb external material and become stronger. It may also absorb external material merely to postpone collapse. So there are at least three possibilities: real reinforcement, life extension without resolution; false stability, where continuity remains but carrying capacity continues to decline. This is why novelty should not automatically be read as growth, and survival should not automatically be read as adequacy. A framework in carrying failure often remains recognizable. Its signs may include proliferation of patches, repeated use of terms that no longer fully fit, rising dependence on borrowed structures, increasing strain around new phenomena, a widening gap between experience and available description, persistence of familiar forms with declining explanatory force. At that stage, the framework may still sound intact. Its crisis is structural before it becomes obvious. Ritualization is especially important here. A framework under strain may continue to circulate even after it has lost much of its descriptive force. It is still repeated, it is still institutionally recognized. It still organizes discourse, but its function has shifted. It no longer works because it fits reality. It works because it preserves the appearance of continuity. In that sense, ritualization is not the same as collapse. It is one of the ways collapse is delayed and masked. Descriptive carrying failure therefore changes the question. Instead of asking, does this framework still exist? It asks, can this framework still carry what is being forced through it? That shift matters because visible continuity is not the same as functional adequacy. A framework may remain present while already losing its load bearing role. It may still organize discourse while failing to organize reality. Descriptive carrying failure names that condition. A framework does not fail only when it disappears. It fails when continuity remains, but carrying capacity does not. Naming declaration. Descriptive carrying failure originates within the meta-writing ecology as a structural model for describing how a descriptive framework loses carrying capacity under complex load. It does not describe language failure in a narrow linguistic sense. It describes the strain, compensation, and eventual divergence of any descriptive framework forced to carry more reality than it can still hold.